David, we've worked through 3 of the 4 stages of your discernment process or exercise: listening, understanding, remembering, and dreaming. The 4th is act, or act into the world. What do you mean by that? And help us understand some concrete ways of facilitating that stage of your process.
Well, again, there's no magic here, and it mostly involves just a lot of discussion with young people and letting them imagine solutions. So how might we respond to the example I used in the book, for example, was this group of young men who lived in South Central Los Angeles who were in this problematic relationship with the police in their community. And so they deconstructed that situation, reflected theologically. And so we sat in a room with them for a day and a half, and just let them imagine different solutions that emerged for them. And not all of them addressed directly the issue. Some of them were more structural. They addressed structural causes, which was the value of thinking, analyzing these situations, is that you get a sense of what might be the underlying root causes of racism, or in this situation, the problematic relationship with police. And so these young men, one of the solutions that they had energy around was creating a teen court, we'd learned in our reflection process, in our discernment process, that there was a high recidivism rate for African American young men in this community, over 85% repeat offenders. And they also discovered that teen courts were a means of judges would refer young people to teen courts so they could be judged by their peers. And we found the recidivism rate dropped significantly below 7% when young people were being tried in their communities by their peers. And so they brought these high school teachers to us, and we trained them to create teen courts in their schools, which was, for them, it was an act of faith and a direct response to how they saw the Spirit leading them in this community. But action projects don't need to be monumental or earth-shattering. One action project I remember was simply the young people in a congregation thought that the pastor was using too many derogatory examples about teenagers in his sermons. And so, they studied, how does media portray adolescence, and what is that about, and then they reflected theologically. So they approached the pastor about his how he portrayed adolescence. He always used them as the foil of some story, so he changed his sermons based on the actions of young people. And the point I want to make with that is simply that sometimes empowerment happens slowly, and young people need some small success to motivate them and encourage them to go on to try bigger things. And that's what we saw happening. It tended to work like that. When young people saw that they really could make a difference in this small community, it gave them the courage to try other things. Anecdotally, in our work with these 4 rhythms, we observed that, interestingly, that they correlated with the Shema. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. It's phrased differently in Luke and in Mark, but we observe that these are different ways for young people to deepen their capacities for the Spirit's work within them, learning to listen, to attend to the world, learning to analyze, to use their minds in thinking about the world, and using their souls to reflect and prayerfully imagine the world and to act in the world, so using their strength in the world. So we thought that was an interesting little connection, and so we like that. It gives us a little encouragement that we might be doing something right. So.